Breaking news, the 2nd of May, 2026. Driving law changes 5 costly rules. Every U.S. driver must know. Imagine driving for 40 years without a single issue. Then one day you get pulled over and fined for something you didn't even know was illegal. That's exactly what happened to Patricia. One routine drive turned into an $1,800 loss. And now, this is happening all across the country. Welcome to SSA Benefit Alert, the channel that delivers honest, clear, and actionable information to American seniors and everyday citizens about the laws, the rules, and the changes that affect their financial security and their daily independence. We are known for covering Social Security, Medicare, and federal benefit programs, but today we are focusing on something that hits just as close to home for millions of our viewers. 5 new driving law changes that became effective across the United States on May 2, 2026, and that are already costing drivers real money at traffic stops from coast to coast. Understanding these 5 rules is not optional if you want to keep your driving record clean, your insurance rates manageable, and your hard-earned retirement savings protected from unnecessary fines and penalties. We are going to go through each rule clearly and completely, tell you exactly what the penalties are, and give you a practical action plan for protecting yourself starting today. Subscribe to SSA Benefit Alert right now if you have not already done so, and turn on the notification bell, because updates like this one come regularly and every single one of them is designed to protect you and your money. The backdrop for these 5 changes is important to understand. The federal government passed the National Road Safety Improvement Act in late 2025, which established new minimum standards for traffic enforcement across all 50 states. The legislation was a direct response to years of rising traffic fatalities, a spike in distracted driving incidents, and growing safety concerns around newer vehicle technologies. The 5 rules we are covering today represent the core provisions of that law as they apply to individual drivers. Some states have enacted penalties that go beyond the federal minimums, so the actual fines in your state may be even higher than what we describe. Check your state DMV website for the specific numbers in your area, and pay attention because none of these 5 rules are forgiving. The first rule is the expanded handheld device prohibition, and even if you think you already know about distracted driving laws, this one has changed in a way that is tripping up millions of drivers right now. Most Americans know that texting while driving is illegal. What they do not know is that as of May 2, 2026, the federal minimum standard now prohibits holding any electronic device in your hand at any point while your engine is running and you are on a public road. That includes while you are stopped at a red light. That includes while you are sitting in traffic that has not moved in 10 minutes. That includes glancing at your phone to check the time or silencing a call. The moment your hand is holding that device and your engine is on, you are in violation. The federal minimum fine for a first offense is $300. A second offense within 3 years carries a minimum $500 fine. A third offense within 3 years triggers a mandatory license suspension of at least 30 days. Many states have already set their penalties higher than these minimums. The only safe move under this rule is to put your phone completely away before you start your car and not pick it up again until your engine is off. A phone mount that allows hands-free operation is your best friend under this new law. The second rule involves following distance on highways and interstates. And this is the one that surprises experienced highway drivers the most because it introduces a specific measurable standard where previously the standard was vague and enforcement was inconsistent. Under the new federal minimum, drivers are required to maintain a following distance of at least 1 car length for every 10 miles per hour of their speed. If you are traveling at 60 miles per hour, you must maintain at least 6 car lengths between your front bumper and the rear bumper of the vehicle ahead of you. At 70 miles per hour, 7 car lengths. Officers are now equipped with standardized measurement tools and patrol vehicle dash cameras that can document following distances with precision. A first offense carries a minimum fine of $250 with 2 points on your license. A second offense within 2 years means $500 and 3 points. For drivers who are already carrying points from previous violations, even a single tailgating citation under this new rule could be enough to trigger a license suspension. If you are a close follower on the highway, change that habit today, because the days of inconsistent enforcement on following distance are over. The third rule strengthens protections for pedestrians and cyclists at crosswalks and intersections, and the change here is more significant than it might first appear. Under the updated federal minimum standard, drivers are now required to come to a complete and total stop whenever any pedestrian is present anywhere within a marked or unmarked crosswalk, and they must remain fully stopped until that pedestrian has cleared not just the driver's lane but the entire roadway. This is stricter than the standard many states previously enforced, where some laws only required stopping until the pedestrian cleared the driver's half of the road. Rolling slowly through a crosswalk while a pedestrian is still walking, edging forward while someone is still crossing, or making a right turn on red without fully stopping for crosswalk traffic are all now federal minimum violations. The fine for failing to yield to a pedestrian in a crosswalk starts at $350. If a driver's failure to yield results in a pedestrian being struck, mandatory license suspension follows regardless of how serious the pedestrian's injuries are. Cyclists using marked crossings and bike lanes now receive the same protection as pedestrians under this rule. If you have the habit of creeping through crosswalks or timing your turns to slip through behind pedestrians, that habit needs to end right now. The fourth rule targets aggressive driving through a completely new enforcement mechanism that many drivers do not yet know exists. In the past, traffic violations were generally treated as isolated incidents. You got a ticket for one specific thing, and that was the end of it unless you committed another violation later. The new law changes that fundamental structure by introducing pattern-based aggressive driving classification. Under this system, if a driver accumulates 2 or more citations from a specific list of violations within any 12-month period, they can be formally classified as an aggressive driver. The qualifying violations include tailgating, unsafe lane changes, failure to yield, speeding more than 20 miles per hour above the posted limit, and aggressive use of headlights or the horn to intimidate other drivers. Once classified as an aggressive driver, the penalties are severe: a fine of up to $1,500, mandatory enrollment in a driver retraining program, and a license suspension of up to 6 months. This means that drivers who have accumulated multiple minor violations over the past year need to check their driving record immediately, because depending on what is already on that record, the next citation could automatically trigger this classification. This is not a future concern. It is a current and immediate risk for a significant number of American drivers. The fifth rule addresses driver assistance technology and the question of driver responsibility when these systems are active. And it is particularly relevant for anyone driving a newer vehicle equipped with features like lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, or any form of semi-autonomous driving capability. As these technologies have become more common on American roads, accidents have increasingly involved drivers who were not actively monitoring the road because they were relying on their car's systems to handle the driving for them. The new law creates an explicit and enforceable legal category called inattentive operation of an assisted vehicle. This violation applies when a driver is found to be not actively engaged with the road while a driver assistance feature is operational. The minimum fine is $400. More significantly, if inattentive operation of an assisted vehicle contributes to a collision, the driver bears full legal liability exactly as if no assistance system were present. Insurance companies have already begun updating their policies to reflect this new liability standard. If you have a newer car and you have developed the habit of letting the technology do the driving while you drift mentally on long highway stretches, this rule requires you to change that behavior immediately and permanently. So what should you do right now after watching this video? The first step is to check your driving record at your state DMV website. Know exactly how many points are currently on your license and how close you are to your state's suspension threshold. The second step is to call your insurance provider and ask them directly how the new May 2nd laws affect your current policy and what a single violation in any of these 5 categories would do to your premium. The third step is to evaluate your own driving habits honestly. Do you hold your phone at red lights? Do you follow closely on the highway? Do you roll through crosswalks? Do you let your car's technology do the work while you mentally check out? Every one of these habits is now a direct and measurable financial risk. The fourth step is to share this video with everyone you know who drives, because the majority of American drivers are still completely unaware that these 5 rules even exist. And the first time many of them will find out is when they are standing on the side of the road holding a very expensive piece of paper. At SSA Benefit Alert, we believe that knowledge is protection. Whether we are covering Social Security changes, Medicare updates, or driving laws that can drain your savings, our mission is always the same. We make sure you know what you need to know before it costs you.